Auburn seems to be trending for Karlos May, an elite defensive lineman.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate. Auburn message board legend Charlie 5, also known as Kyle Rush. Kyle Rush, don't know why I said it that way. He's the man over at thebarnauburn.com. He also hosts the Top Button podcast. Which defensive linemen need to step up this year? There's one guy that I haven't really talked about much, and I want to do that today, as well as loading up on the defensive line in the 2027 class. Makes a ton of sense when you look at the roster and the roster management aspect of this. But let's start with Karlos May. Kyle, Wilt Fong seems to think that Auburn will land Karlos May, which is obviously a big deal, but plays at Ramsey in Birmingham. Seems like one of the top in-state targets for the Tigers, and it seems to keep trending that way. And of course, Karlos may commit to the Tigers. So
he may do it.
He may do it.
He may do it. Look, there was 3 guys in this class, which makes so much sense as to why the emphasis on retaining Vontrell King-Williams and keeping him in the loop and keeping him in the mix on this staff was so important, because you already got one at least committed, and that's the number 1 player in the state in Donivan Moore. Karlos May, number 2, 6'4", 305, and then obviously Elijah Brown from Prattville, who's also a big boy. So it's no secret what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make sure they lock up the big in-state defensive line talent. You got 3 big ones, 3 dominoes. Maybe 2 are about to – one's already fallen. Maybe 2's about to fall here soon. Typically, when you get those predictions, it's not far behind. And, we've been told, Zach, and when I say we, you and I, whenever Karlos May is a priority, go ahead and get locked in, get in the boat. So it wouldn't shock me if it was this week, if that one went ahead and pulled the trigger and committed to the Tigers. Huge position of need, stacking defensive line classes. I mean, man, think about this, Zach. You land Autry and Crawford, and then you turn around and follow it up with possibly Donivan Moore, Karlos May, and Elijah Brown. That's pretty dang solid, man.
Well, and the class in between them, smaller in quantity, but the quality of Corey Wells and Tavion Branch.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
both of those guys have a chance to start at Auburn over the next 2 or 3 seasons. And we'll talk about, the roster management aspect of this, because I do think the timing of them loading up on big bodies in this class is important. Girth is great for sure. Girth and length, 100%.
He's 6'4", so yeah.
He's 6'4", 100%. Yeah, 305 pounds. Still has a year of high school football left to play, which is unbelievable. Looks like he has official visits scheduled. Georgia first on June 5th, and then on June 12th, a week later, is his official to Auburn. I hope he doesn't wait that long to commit. I would like him in the boat early, because I would like some positive momentum here, because I think there's going to be a few guys that they really push to commit before spring.
Yeah, the staff seems to have – they have a select few guys in mind, I think, that they're wanting to go ahead and have in the boat to kind of get the momentum rolling. Israel Abrams is one. Obviously, Donivan Moore was one. I think this guy's on that list too. So, wouldn't shock me if you go ahead and get him in the boat and start recruiting, man. Get him in. Ramsey High School, that's really good competition. That's upper echelon as far as classifications go in the state of Alabama. It's just somebody that could almost be like a ready-made guy to step in and go. Like they're good program, and he's got the size to make it happen. Top 100 prospect too. I mean, on Rivals, that's just, why not?
Yeah, you take it. You take it for sure. And I do think some of these guys aren't getting the hype for a few different reasons as far as like the excitement throughout the Auburn fan base. One is, especially with Donivan Moore, who they've already got in the boat. I mean, the number one player in the state not being a 5-star is a little unique. Like, that's a little odd. And I kind of wonder if he could reclass, or when they redo the grades and update them over the course of the offseason, if he has a chance to do that. But I don't think that really landed as much as it probably should have, the fact that Auburn did get the top player in the state.
Yeah, and look, if you follow recruiting at all, you understand that a lot of these sites don't give out all the 5-stars in February.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, every site's going to have somewhere between 27 and 32 5-stars. And right now, you probably only have like 15 or so for every single site. Now, Donivan Moore's got some work to do. Like, he's at 52 overall on Rivals. So if he can get, have a really good camp series and get within that, that top 35, he's got a chance to be a 5-star. But the thing about this class, though, this Alabama class is deep, man. You go all the way to the top 15 or top 14. Your top 14 are all high 4-stars. Mm-hmm. So like, it may not have the Cam Coleman, the top 20 player in the country in it, but it's got a bunch of dudes in it. And it just so happened 3 of those are on the defensive line, and Auburn is in the driver's seat for all 3, which is fantastic.
It's amazing how quickly Vontrell King-Williams has just risen to being just one of those guys. Like, everybody's got to, like, you want a guy like that on your staff. And Vontrell has just turned into one of those guys where it's like, yeah, we need this guy and he plays at your position. Go get him. He's like, yeah, okay, already consider it done. I mean, that's like, he has turned into that guy, and we kind of like lucked into it. I forgot who it was was over him, who he got a job. I think was
Jeremy
Jaguars. Who was it?
Jeremy Garrett.
That's right.
And it
was kind of late in the process. So
Yeah.
they just promoted him. And I mean, that's when I was having Jason Jones on the show a lot. They're like, oh no, Vontrell's like the man. Like, okay, great, cool. And he's been unbelievable.
Yeah, remember they brought him in when they thought that assistance ruling was going to go through, but it actually ended up not going through till like a whole year later. So they brought in these assistants that they thought could eventually like become defensive line coaches, like those on the field coaches, because so many, you can, like, I guess everybody can coach on field now. That just not everybody can recruit. So it was kind of easy to slide him over. And then, you know what, man? We get tied up, I think, sometimes in going and finding proven recruiters. You don't know if a guy can recruit until you just know. And sometimes it's personality, and sometimes it's coaching style. And to me, Vontrell has both. Like, he's the kind of guy that you want to send your son to play for because he's going to be tough on him,
Mm-hmm.
but he's going to love him too. And I think that's so connectable. Is that a word? That's such
it is now.
Such an easy thing to connect with, like somebody that you can
connectification, if you will.
Connectification. He's a 5-star in connectification.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic. And so if he gets this, that'd be 3 classes in a row of just elite guys. And
God, for some reason, I just want to forget about last class. And
yeah, it was pretty messed up.
Yeah, I don't even know why I just completely threw last class under the bus, and you had an elite guy in there that's probably going to – I mean,
Corey Wells is probably going to play this year.
He could play this year. Yeah, exactly.
He's unbelievable.
He's really, really good.
It just I think what happens, it just happened during all that craziness of like people leaving for the portal.
Yes.
We just hired Golesh. We get that big flip on signing day, which people are kind of not as fired up on anymore. Like, I don't know, just kind of weird dynamics in play. But Corey Wells, I think, will play this year. Tavion Branch, I think, has a chance to play as a true sophomore or a redshirt freshman. He'll have some sort of a role this year, I think, as like a backup. But he's a part of the future. He's going to be good. He's going to be good too.
But Corey Wells could take he could take someone's starting job if they don't come.
Correct. If he's not part of the rotation early in the season, I would be surprised. I think he plays against Baylor. Like, that's a true freshman. So
I don't disagree.
Great. The roster management aspect of this is massive. If Vontrell King-Williams can pull off getting these 3 in-state guys, which it sounds like There's a good chance that he does pull this off. Let's talk about that from a timing standpoint in just a moment. Right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda. This is Mazda's moving the game forward for those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. As far as moving the game forward, let's talk about Vontrell King-Williams. I mean, a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, he's moving the game forward for Auburn, both as far as developing defensive line and getting guys committed. Mazda puts the same passion in every model. Highlights make the real. What it takes to get there is what makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. All you have to do is use your profit boost that you get within the app on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, and the whole experience. Just check that out over at FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost to be entered. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. When you look at the makeup and the age of this roster, I love next year, assuming we take care of business and keep guys on the roster, you will lose Dallas Walker. You will lose Cody Sigler to eligibility. Saint Farrior could come back as a senior following this season. And then your core, I've talked about it a ton, your true sophomores and redshirt freshmen on this year's roster is the core. They are the core of your team. And so you bring back Buddy Mathis, Malik Autry, Jordan Crawford, Darian Smith, the 2 guys that we just talked about that are true freshmen this year, Corey Wells, Tavion Branch coming back. And then hopefully you bring in these 3 in-state defensive linemen to be a part of this. Let them sit, maybe earn a spot at the tail end of the rotation behind these guys. But after next season on the defensive line, you're going to lose some of these guys to the NFL because they're that good. And then it'll be the second year in this program for the guys that they're recruiting right now. And when you talk about vision and when you talk about planning for the future and you talk about getting guys in the boat and selling them on the vision, Alex Golesh wants to come in here and win. No question about it. But he wants to build the program the right way. And not all positions are created equal. But when you look at the defensive line, Kyle, this is what you have to do to compete for championships. They made it very clear that they wanted this true sophomore class to be the core of this roster. And I think that's a big reason why, because it's going to give the guys that they're about to bring in a little bit of breathing room before they leave for the NFL.
Think about this, dude. On the interior of the defensive line, there's a really good chance you don't have to go get anyone in the portal in this offseason. Like if you really think about that, if everybody, if you've hit on the guys that you've retained and you've brought in, there's a good chance when you go through December, interior defensive linemen, hey, by the way, pretty expensive, pretty costly. There's a good chance that you don't necessarily have to go into the portal and get another, I'm not saying the name just because I don't think they're worth it, but like Saint Farrior, you may not have to go find another Saint Farrior. You may not have to go find another Dallas Walker. You have all these guys that are very, very young. You're like 2 years in that are going to be juniors next year. How awesome and how freeing is that to have like homegrown guys right there in the middle? And I put homegrown in quotation marks because, there's going to be a Buddy Mathis. There's going to be a Saint Farrior. There's going to be some guys that you brought in, but guys that are there multiple years under the same system and same tutelage.
Same defensive coordinator, same position coach.
Yes.
Big deal.
Huge deal. Huge deal.
You're a huge deal.
You may not have to get another one out of the portal, which, up until maybe the following year, you may have to, but man, I just think that is when you can get to that point where you're just filling like small holes and not like going and trying to find difference makers. You are way ahead of the game.
Well,
because
and
difference makers in the portal cost exponentially more than difference makers out of high school that you're grooming and they come, coming along.
Well, and most of the time, those guys don't even get to the portal. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why it's such a big deal when they truly are
Yes.
on the open market. But most of the time, those guys don't even get there because you do whatever it takes to keep them. And as far as stacking classes and building out the roster, like we just saw it. We just saw what that looks like. They just couldn't win. But the talent was certainly there to where Auburn did build it from the high school ranks. It took 3 classes, and it's going to take Alex Golesh 3 classes. We're starting to see the early formation of his first class, and we'll see how it kind of matches over time with what the previous regime did. I think it's going to look a little different. I don't think they're going to go star chasing as much as the previous staff did. I think they're going to go more off of fit and more off of, exactly what we need. And I think culture is going to be part of it. And we'll see if it works or not. And then you combine that with what you can get in the portal. I think it's going to be fine. So all in all, the timing of them getting and targeting these 3 elite in-state defensive linemen, I think could be really, really good. Really, really good. And it just makes sense. Anything else on that before we move on?
No, I think you nailed it.
Cool. I want to highlight somebody in this defensive line room that we really haven't highlighted much at all. Is that fair? Is it not fair? We look at it next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Indeed, man, like something that they do so well is you can put exactly what you need in there, and then they're going to use their algorithm or whatever to find the strengths of people that are looking for a job and pair you, because it's not all about just like the person with the best resume. It's the best fit, Kyle. It's a thing that we've been talking about with Alex Golesh and the staff. They're looking for the best fit. And just like running a football program or putting together a roster, it's the same with running a business. You need to find people that have a great fit for exactly what you're looking for. So you can spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes, less stress. All that is for Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job, the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast, Indeed.com/podcast. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. All right, final few minutes on today's edition of Locked On Auburn. We've talked so much about these true sophomores. We've also talked about the return of Dallas Walker, how big of a deal that is. But we've also talked about the addition of Cody Sigler. We think Cody Sigler from Arkansas State is going to be a big deal. A guy that I haven't talked much about, I don't think you have either, I listen to your show a good bit, is Saint Farrior, the transfer from App State. And well, I'm just looking at stuff on Pro Football Focus. 6'3", 335 pounds. And I just wonder how he fits in to this. I think it's depth, especially with the return of Dallas Walker. But with the size of Jordan Crawford, I just kind of wonder where Saint Farrior fits into this. When you look at him, he looks like a nose in DJ Durkin's system. And what he did at App State, played 265 snaps last year at App State. 169 of them were at the 3 technique, and then 83 were at nose. It really seemed like, it seemed game plan dependent on where he lined up. And I think he's a nose here. And so my question is, with Dallas Walker and Jordan Crawford, where does he fit in from a rotation standpoint?
That's a really good question. Look, I think that ideally, if all things were perfect and you could have that good, solid defensive tackle that can take those 2 gaps, and that frees you up to do multiple things with your linebackers, your very, very talented linebackers, you are ecstatic. And why not have a guy that's, like you said, 6'3", 335 pounds, that's had some experience there, like right there, lined up dead on top of the center. Why not bring that in and line that up behind Dallas Walker and Jordan Crawford, these big-bodied, these really wide, low center of gravity guys that can eat up space. That's they're not going to jump off the charts as far as stats go, because that's not really their job. I mean, it's almost like an offensive lineman for the defensive line.
Yeah, you don't want to be noticed.
You don't want to be noticed. Exactly. You want to have a lot of snaps and nobody know about it. Basically, that's what.
And a lot of what DJ Durkin, I mean, that's what Bobby Jamison Travis did. Like, in a nutshell, I don't think the average Auburn fan knows who Bobby Jamison Travis is, but he was spectacular.
And he's going to the combine.
Yeah, right. He'll be a draft pick. I mean, because he does stuff that no one else wants to do. And also, in Durkin's defense, a lot of the time with these interior guys is you really want to free stuff up for the linebackers. Yes, you want to free stuff up for whether it's Atkins or Melendez or Diaz or Riddick, doesn't matter who it is. You want them to look like stars. Like, that's the purpose of all of this. And like, can Saint Farrior do that? Sure. But I think Dallas Walker could do it better. And
I do too.
I think Jordan Crawford with another offseason will be able to do it better.
To me, it's not so much about who can do it better. It's like that particular position, those big guys, they typically can't go, 80 snaps a game. They typically are not able to go at a very high level at even 60 to 70 snaps a game. So can he give you 20? Can it be a guy that steps in and give you 20 good snaps at the nose where you don't necessarily, when you sub in, you're not subbing in like a whole new package and philosophy. You could just kind of repeal and replace kind of deal. You pull out Dallas Walker, throw in Saint Farrior or Jordan Crawford, and you don't have to like tinker with anything else. You just roll with it. I think that's why he's so important. And if he can be that 2-gap guy, that's huge, man. That's like, I mean, you can't really even put a value on how big that is.
Right. I wonder if you had to guess right now, who are the starters at nose into the 3-tech?
I mean, I guess it would be probably, it would be
is it Dallas Walker
and Sigler, right?
And Sigler?
That's what I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Mathis or Autry won the job at the 3 technique. That wouldn't shock. It also wouldn't shock me if Jordan Crawford won it at nose, if I'm being 100% honest. But yeah, I think right now, if I had to pick going into spring, I think I would pick those 2 guys.
Man, how fun would it be? How fun would it be if it does get to be Jordan Crawford and Malik Autry right there?
Isn't that the best case scenario?
I think so.
I think so too. For this year,
I would want to. I want to win regardless, but I'm just thinking beyond just winning right now. If those guys could win those position battles, boy, oh boy, you're talking about a really good defensive line. Which I'm not speaking for you here, but I feel like that was one of your biggest concerns. Maybe it was more isolated to pass rushing, but the defensive line in general as a whole was one of your biggest concerns.
It was. Dallas Walker's return made me feel better about the D line. And so now I need to shift my verbiage because I've actually done it a few times, but I need to be more specific in saying pass rush.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust any of the guys that we've mentioned so far on the interior from a pass rush standpoint.
Oh, no.
Not saying they can't do it. Not saying they can't develop and do that, but I just don't trust them yet.
And again, that's not really their responsibility. Like, that's not how
it helps, though.
It does help.
I mean, Malik blocked and had an impact in the pass rush. You couldn't double them,
For sure. But again, if they can do their jobs, I think there's enough talent back there behind them. And
I agree.
Especially from the linebacker position. You're going to have to manufacture some things, but boy, if you got a big guy in the middle, that helps. It helps big time.
It does. It does. Yeah, and I do think you have options from a personnel standpoint to where you have options to play different guys on 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 9, which is what you want. So I do think it's come together for sure. For sure. Kyle Rush, how can people check out everything you have going on?
Absolutely. Go to thebarnauburn.com, sign up today, the message board that we have, jump in the conversation, the Barn Auburn on YouTube or the Barn Podcast Network, anywhere you get a podcast, dropping new content every single day. Multiple.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.